Breaking news on spousal benefits for Social Security. And the reason I'm saying breaking news is because I just learned something about this. And I imagine if I just learned something, the vast majority of you did too. So for us, this is breaking news. It's not breaking news because something politically happened or anything like that. But it is breaking news for me, and I imagine it'll be breaking news for you as well. So every year I get a lot of, well, not a lot, but on occasion I'll get people asking, how do you know so much about Social Security? And I always tell them, because I subscribe to horsesmouth.com. Every year I get this box of stuff on their Savvy Social Security Planning.com, SavvySocialSecurity.com program that they have, which I love. I think it's like $600-700 a year. I get to write off because I'm a business owner. And it gives me like 25, I think, continuing ed credit hours for my CFP, which I need anyway. But there's a plethora of information. They got spreadsheets. They got so much software programs I just never use. I probably should, but I hardly ever do. But there's a Q&A thing from this lady named Elaine Floyd, and she runs the whole thing. And you can see right here, it doesn't say her name on here, but Savvy Social Security Planning. It is Elaine Floyd who runs it. I thought they would say her name in here. Let's see. Hold on a second. Yeah, there it is, Elaine. So Elaine just crushes. Actually, I interviewed Elaine Floyd. This is back in September of 2018 when I was just still doing my podcast. I can't believe it's been 6.5 years, man. And I said, back 6 years ago, I have trolls. I literally just posted this and someone already gave me a down thumb. And that's funny. No way this dude could have even listed this, but there it is. A thumbs down. Must be a competitor. That's kind of funny. Anyway, so it's been a long time since I interviewed Elaine. But Elaine she's just a freaking rock of Gibraltar when it comes to this stuff. So here's her top questions for 2024 about Social Security. Automatic enrollment in Part A, backdated 6 months, leads to HSA overcontributions. Get rid of that. Let's see. WEP not applied when it should have been, results in a $50,000 overpayment. Now, hopefully that will be resolved now with Sniffy Joe. But right here's what I want to talk about. By the way, you can sign up for Savvy Social Security Planning too. You don't have to be an advisor. Tons of stuff in there. I don't get paid on or anything like that. But if you're interested in the ins and outs of Social Security, it's a good program to have access to for sure, even if it's just for a year. It's not cheap, but I love it. Lack of clarity about when spousal benefit must start leads to rather unusual strategy. All right. So we got Mary and Gary. All right, Mary is now 64 years old, but she claims Social Security at 62. So we know it's going to be reduced. All right, she'll have a reduced benefit because she reclaimed before her full retirement age, which means she was receiving $11.85 a month. That's what she's currently getting in her social. Remember, she's 64 now, but she claimed at 62. Her hub, Gary, just turned 65. Or 65 in 10 months. He's retiring and needs income, so he's going to claim at 65 in 10 months. Again, before his full retirement age. So he'll receive $31.87 a month. All right, so just for giggles here. Mary's getting $11.85. Gary's going to get $31.87. All right, everybody with now, but Mary is getting that $11.85 on her record. She filed for her own benefit before Gary filed for his, which means there is no spousal benefit available to Mary because Gary had yet filed. I was just dealing with a couple of this the other day. The exact same thing. They thought they could take the spousal benefit. I said, you can't until your husband files. You just can't do it. There's no, unless you're divorced. And no spousal benefits available until the spouse files for the benefit. All right, so in this case, you'll see Gary, his $31.87 is not his PIA. That's the amount he got at 65 and 10 months, about 14 months before his full retirement age. So his PIA is actually $34.72. So in this case, Mary, if she waited till her full retirement age, would get half, the greater of her own benefit, or half of that $34.72. So we're just going to say $17.36 a month. All right. So Mary could give herself a bump up from $11.85 to $17.36 a month if she had waited till her full retirement age. So here's the question. Here's where I learned something here. So I'm thinking, yeah, but she already filed for her benefit at 62, so she won't get half of that. She'll get that half reduced by, I think, another 15%. I can't remember, but she'll be reduced because she took her own benefit at 62. But check this out. Is the percentage of the worker's PIA, in this case Gary, is the percentage of Gary's PIA determined by when Mary claimed her own benefits at 62? Or is it determined by when Mary applies for her spousal benefits, we'll say now at 64? If it's the latter, when Mary applies, could she wait till claim spousal benefits until 67 to get bumped up to the full 50%? And I was like, no, you can't do that. It's going to automatically revert to the greater of your spousal benefit or your own benefit, whichever is greater, given the fact that Gary just filed and given the fact that you filed early. That was my initial. But then I was thinking, well, would it be at 60? I frankly did not know. So here's what Elaine says. All right, so I hope this makes sense. So this lady's asking, if Gary files, which he did, will Mary's spousal benefit will be 50% but reduced because Mary filed at 62, or it'll be 50% but reduced because Gary filed when Mary's 64, so it won't be quite the reduction. Or could Mary wait to file for her spousal benefit until her full retirement age is 67 and get the full 50% of the Gary's PIA? The full 50% of Gary's PIA will be $1,736, which is significantly more than $1,185. Kind of sounds a little bit like the file and suspend. Obviously, we don't have file and suspend anymore. I was like, I don't think you can do that. But remember, just because Gary filed early and he only has $3,187 a month, the spousal benefit is still based on what? It's based on Gary's PIA. Anyway, according to the law as passed by the Budget Act of 2015, Mary is required to start her spousal benefits as soon as she becomes entitled to. That is, as soon as Gary files. So according to this law, she now has access automatically to the greater of the spousal benefit or her own benefit, whichever is greater. In this case, it would be a spousal benefit. But here's what Elaine says. But in a case like this, where she already had her own benefit, I don't think the Social Security Administration is monitoring whether or not spouses go back for their spousal benefit. I wish they would. Then we wouldn't encounter 80-year-old spouses who never filed for their spousal benefit. So what Elaine is saying is there is a separate filing process to file for your spousal benefit. It doesn't automatically revert from your own benefit to the spousal benefit. So I would say that if she wants to wait until her full retirement age to go back for the spousal benefit, that would probably work. If for some reason Social Security contacts her after her husband files and says she needs to start the spousal benefit at that time, well, then she'll need to do that. Still give her a bump up. Remember, she won't jump up to the full 50% of his PIA. She will keep a reduced benefit. The difference between her PIA and one half of his PIA will be added to it, making the total somewhat less than 50%. But if she can wait till her full retirement age, and then she goes and files for Social Security and get a half of the benefit, as opposed to reduced half the benefit because she took it early. Even though it says in the law right there, the law is that she should get the spousal benefit the minute he files. But she says we have people who are 80 years old who never filed for the spousal benefit and they didn't get all the money they got. Anyway, that's a very interesting opportunity there. So Mary, if the Social Security doesn't contact her and she waits until she's 67, all right, she goes, I don't want my own benefit anymore. I want to take my spousal benefit at 50% of Gary's PIA. Now, again, Elaine doesn't say that's guaranteed. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. I don't know. That's it. Excuse me. I just ate some tacos out of burp. How dare you? That's a huge opportunity, which in some ways encourages spouses to file early, lower earning spouses to file early, husbands, your old buddy Josh, to file later, and then the wife goes back in and files for her spousal benefit later. So Charlotte files at 62. I don't file yet. All right, she gets reduced benefit on her record because she's filed before her full retirement age. I don't file. Now, I file, we'll just say it's 70. All right, I file for my full benefit. This will be with delayed earnings credits. But Charlotte will then go back, because she's 4 years younger than me, when she hits 67 and says, I don't want my own benefit anymore. I want half of my husband's benefit at his PIA, which won't be from 70 years old. It'll be still, well, not 67, but still. That could be a significant jump from when she filed early. I don't know the answers. I found it very interesting, but it's breaking news to me. I said, that might be a strategy worth pursuing. Anyway, if you guys want to dive into it deeper, I'd love to hear your thoughts, because that's pretty interesting to me. All right, love your thoughts. Don't forget to paw that like button. Let me hear what you say. God bless.